I'm Mark Edwards. I'm from Pipestem, West Virginia, and I just happened to finish second place in the Bassmaster Classic, first tournament of the Bassmasters on Logan Martin Lake in Alabama. And it's just an awesome experience, great event. Thank everybody that made this possible. And when I seen Bassmasters having kayak tournaments, I said, I'm going to fish this one because it's during the Classic. And once I got to looking at the lake, I figured I could maybe possibly do well at this lake because it fishes my strengths. Spotted bass, they're really aggressive. I fish aggressive. And so I really didn't research a whole lot because of the way the weather was happening. So what I done was I chose a spot on the lake that was going to be least affected by the weather. So I showed up Monday evening and I looked at several ramps. I checked the river, seen how much current was in the river, didn't want no part of it. So I come on down to Clear Creek is where I ended up fishing. And I actually fished my 2 practice days there, Tuesday and Wednesday. And had great practice. Both days I had over 80 inches. But I done 2 different patterns. On the first day of practice, I went to Main Lake and tried Main Lake pockets. And it was great. I mean, there was a couple fish in each pocket, but it was so hard to run so much territory I didn't feel real confident about doing that all day. And the water temp on the main river was 51 degrees, and you go in the back of a pocket, it was 58 to 60. So as the evening went on the first day of practice, I ended up going into the creek where everybody else was fishing. There was about 35 kayakers practice there every day, and everybody was going into this creek. So I went to check in the creek, and spotted bass was blowing up everywhere. It was really insane. There was like 2 or 3 acres of fish blowing up. So I cast in them several times, caught 4 or 5, seen how big, and they were good size. There was over 7. I caught a couple 17s, 16s. So I put it on a trailer that day, and then 2 days it rained straight. Wednesday practice, it was nonstop rain, and I went ahead and went out there, and I wanted a backup plan in case the schooling fish didn't work out. So I went to the same ramp to learn more about that area. So I went in the back of the creek, and I struggled a little bit. And there's a bridge back there, and I checked it out, and there was fish on the bridge, but it's kind of hard to get them to bite sometimes because a lot of people fish them. I found some fish on a clay bank, and I caught 3 nice largemouths on 1 clay bank. So I really thought I was on something for a backup pattern. And so tournament day, I ended up starting on the schooling fish. And I mean, it rained all night, all day during the tournament. And I started on them schooling fish, and I started out with 1 keeper. And real slow, they wasn't really schooling, and with the weather cooling down, the fish stayed, I think, deeper, and they just didn't school up. So I went out, tried my backup plan, and on the way there, the bridge, I threw a jerk bait on one of the piers and caught a 19-inch largemouth, my big fish. And I went to the clay banks and tried that, couldn't get a bite, tried several different lures, jerk baits, A-rig, crankbait. And I had no luck in practice off a shaky head or a TRD. And I decided to throw that worm up on there, the TRD worm, because I knew there was fish up on that bank, and I ended up catching a nice largemouth. And that was my 3rd fish, but I didn't have enough signal to load that where I was located. So I was really scrambling. I didn't know what to do. I went back to the bridge. There's people there, people fishing off the bank. You couldn't fish the pier right. So I ended up running back to the starting spot, thinking I might hit a couple Main Lake points, running out of time. And the wind really picked up really hard, and I started casting A-rig, and it was kind of insane. I mean, I know 4 floats. I'd go to this one spot, make a cast, catch a fish, measure, get back on the motor, go back up, make a cast. 4 times in a row I coiled up, and ended up catching all the rest of my fish right there, finishing out 2nd place. All this bass event, I mean, it's a Bassmaster Classic. It's insane. I mean, it's a great event, and the sport of kayak fishing is growing, and this is going to help it grow even more, because bass, I mean, you think of Bass Masters, and I mean, you think of bass fishing. and the kayak fishing is so much more affordable than the boat world, and I just think the sky's the limit for growing it. I mean, and this is just starting. So can't wait to see what happens next year with the Bassmasters.